So our theme for 2024, the days are winding down, but we're still with our theme of a grand rising. And our theme for the month of December is sticking the landing. Today's talk will be Hearts Ablaze, and it will be given by our wonderful Reverend Charlene. We are so glad that you took some time out of your day to join us. If you have any prayer concerns or celebrations that you would like us to include later in our service, when we do our affirmative prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment, please let us know. Put it in the chat, and Charlene will be sure to include that. All right, folks, that's all I have to say to get things started. Sit back, relax, take a deep breath. You made it here, and enjoy our welcoming video. Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be of service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is. And so it is. All right, folks, now is the time for our meditation. And if you're a regular viewer here at CSL Leesburg, you know that I always like to tie in our meditation with the title of our talk. But in the back of my head, I was thinking, it's December, and December can be such a busy month. I don't know about you, but my to-do list is still pretty long. My heart is on fire. I'm determined to get it all done. But whoo, I got to be really busy getting things all prepared for the upcoming holidays. So I thought, let's just use this meditation time to go in and explore the idea of inner peace and calm. Let's do that. So sit back in your chair, get into a relaxing position. Maybe you need to shrug your shoulders a little bit, a place where we often carry tension and stress. Wiggle your toes, stretch out your legs. Just get into a comfortable position. Let your body really sink in to relaxation. All right, now that we've done that, let's start our deep breathing. And as you inhale, I would like you to really focus on the coolness of the air as it enters your body. And as you exhale, I want you to focus on the warmth of your exhaling breath. So we breathe in and hold. We're going to warm up that air. And exhale. Let's do that again. Inhale. And hold. And exhale. And you can keep doing that. I'm going to come back to that, guiding you. But I want you to think as you inhale, kind of picture that feeling that you get when the old commercial, you eat a York peppermint patty, or you have some eucalyptus or mentholatum or something, that coolness just flooding your system. Maybe you're picturing that water in that beautiful mountainous lake. And as you exhale, I just want you to envision the warmth, and maybe you're seeing a really comfy blanket or a beautiful roaring fire. So here we go. Let's inhale. And hold. And exhale. Nice. This feels so good. And you can keep doing that during this meditation. Or you can focus on the words that I have for you, or listen to the words and focus on those beautiful images. How glorious it feels to draw in our breath, to invite peace and calmness and ease into our system, to put our busy lives on hold while we do our meditation, and then to exhale with warmth, thinking about the gift that we give others. We offer peace to them, comfort and strength and friendship. And that is such a warming notion, a comforting motion. As you continue to breathe deeply, be present in this moment. Relax any muscles that you do not need at this precise moment. Breathe deeply and relax more deeply. Maybe imagine yourself going to bed, laying down on those beautiful, beautiful clouds. Just sink into a feeling of inner peace and calmness. There's nothing that you have to do right now. Your to-do list is pushed aside. It doesn't exist for now. We're just in this exact moment. And now is the time to really feel that inner peace when you go into the now. There's calmness. You're being cradled, almost like a baby in his or her mother's arms. Your body says, yes, oh yes, this is just what I needed at this moment. You are safe. You are at peace. And all is well. There's nothing that you have to do right now at this exact moment except just relax and breathe. That's it. That's all. And in this state, allow your exhales to become just a bit longer. And as we watch that sun slowly set, that's always my cue. Continue those deep breaths, but slowly return to us. Because we're going to leave this moment of meditation and we're going to transition into some wonderful music today. Namaste.
Hi, My name is Leah Morris, and I have just learned the best song. One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world, one heart at a time, one heart at a time. It's by Michael Stillwater, and it's called One Heart at a Time. One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world, one heart at a time, one heart at a. One by one, everyone comes to remember we're one by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing one heart at a time. One by one, everyone comes to remember we're one by one, everyone comes to remember one by one, everyone comes to
Whoa, that was amazing. Yay! I hope you were singing it too with her because it was one of those songs that lay over each other. Did you see the technology? She's stepping on all kinds of little pedals to make her voice sing with her own voice. Leah. We love Leah. Welcome to week 2, December. I won't say it, but you know I'm thinking it. Where does all the time go? Yikes. Well, as you know, Tamara always so gifted with taking us through some meditation that reminds us to calm down, slow down, breathe, and there's nothing we need to do except be right here, right now. If I could just have Tamara in my ear every 5 minutes, be here now. Be here right now. It would be amazing. Tamara, think about that. You should start an app. Okay. So the monthly theme, Sticking the Landing, as we talked about last week, was analogous of a gymnast such as Simone Biles, who, with her craft, her skill, her God-given talent, twists and turns through the air. And if we think about the year we've been through, how many twists and turns might you have had in the air? And then our goal is to stick that landing to in a place where we are upright with a posture of yes, hands up and boom, 10, 10s all around, right? We want to be able to navigate these twists and turns in a way that we always are aware of where we are, even while twisting, even while turning, always aware of where our feet are on the ground, sticking the landing every time. What does that take? Oh, you definitely have to close social media for a second and turn off the news and slide all of the ways that attention can be drained from us. We can give our attention to so many things that are competing for our attention, but something about going within, taking all that energy that we have and grabbing it back, returning it to ourselves from all the places where we may scatter it, and bringing it back to center and just going within. That is the beginning of everything in our lives that we will hold dear, to become aware of who we are as we move through this planet, not being swayed by what it looks like and the fears and all of the ways in which our mind might be pulled, knowing that it's an approach to life, but it's not the grounding approach that we seek. We seek something else. And last week I started it off by the title of Standing on Solid Air. Wait, what? Solid air? And we talked about how a lot of times the thought forms that come up as if this is fact. It might be fact, but is it the truth? There are things that we know to be true. And when we go within, I said last week, we have some internal convictions about who we are and what we're about, that if we know that first, then we're not as tempted to follow everybody's different ideology of how the world works. When we know who we are, we're not as tempted to just follow everybody's ideas. We will listen for sparks of awareness, sparks of, oh, that's what I think. I agree with that. This pulls me forward. I mentioned how I found Science of Mind by walking into that church, and oh my gosh, she's speaking my language. And I allowed parts of me to be remembered. So think about it. Remembering just means I already had these parts of me, and I just need to reattach them, reveal them, renew. It's all the stuff that's already there, and I'm reminded of it. That's a little more powerful than, okay, tell me everything from beginning to end. I'll take notes. I'll change everything I always thought, and I'll follow you because you seem to know the answer. You want to know the shortcut to disappointment? Change everything you think and align with someone else. Disregard everything you know and align with someone else. Oh, how to disappoint yourself in 10 days? Like, seriously. We have what we have on purpose. We think what we think for a reason. And some of the stuff, when we bring it up and we examine it, we realize, oh, this is not even my truth. When I was young, maybe they told me I'm not supposed to, maybe if you were left-handed. Some people were forced to be right-handed because there's a judgment about left-handed children. So their parents took that pen out of the left hand, put it in the right hand, and forced that kid into a right-handedness. This is an analogy of sometimes you wake up and realize, oh my gosh, I'm not even right-handed. No wonder my writing is terrible. Change to the correct hand. Start doing amazing things with that left hand. We find we've been conditioned out of who we really are. And so a lot of times spiritual awakening is simply returning to that beautiful, perfect genius child that came into this world that might have been immediately shoved into a round hole even if they were a square peg. That's our goal, to try to just rediscover who we really are. So today, our topic, as Tamara said, was Hearts Ablaze. So I was in my closet. I was like, this looks like fire flames. Ablaze. Sure, let's do that. Because, there are 5 weeks in December. There are 5 elements that we're going to talk about. Last week was air. This week is fire. And to go with fire is the idea, the spiritual consciousness idea of feeling. Fire and feeling. I like the way they did that. I love that the home office organizes topics and areas of exploration because they know that ministers like me get a little distracted. Might need some notes. And so I love this. So fire and feeling working together to form our experience. All right, so here's how this works. You know how when you read a book and you know something, that's not the same as reading the book, knowing something, practicing it, and feeling it. And then feeling the fire that might come from a passion that has to do with that topic. And in fact, think about this. If it's true what Ernest Holmes, who's the founder of religious science, now we call it Centers for Spiritual Living because science tends to sometimes be confused with Christian science and that could run some people off. So we're like, fine. It's spiritual living, but it's not based on, oh, I just had an idea. No, it's based on provable science. So Ernest Holmes says, there's an irresistible potential pressing against everyone for self-expression. If we listen, we shall hear it, not as a voice, but as a feeling, as a divine urge to express. Now, I love this. There is an irresistible potential pressing against everyone for self-expression. So there you go. Proof that it's not just in people like Leah who can do those songs. It's not just in people like Tamara who can weave some beautiful thoughts. It's not just like, oh, just the Soul Pajamas because they're good at music and only those creative types. No, he said pressing against everyone for self-expression. We don't get to quiet or shush people when they're being their authentic self. That is the divine expression of itself pressing against someone with an irresistible urge for self-expression. And when we try to take that away, it's just mean. And then he says, we listen to it, we'll hear it, but it's not a voice, it's a feeling. So following our feelings, good idea. Follow your feelings. But how many of us have been told, oh, you're so emotional. You need to be more practical. You need to be more logical. And I mean, you do need your head, but you also need your heart. And when those two are in agreement, then show me the time when a head agreed with the heart and it wasn't the right move to make. Every time in my life that I've listened to one over the other, they didn't agree. Typically it's like, oh man. But when they're both lined up, whew, that is powerful because we have a divine urge to express ourselves. So, in fact, have you heard of Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor? That lady who was a neuroscientist who had a stroke. And she wrote a book, Stroke of Genius, I think it was called. This new book she wrote, Whole Brain Living. She watched herself have a stroke. She knew she was having it because she knew the brain. She studied the brain. She watched how part of her body got weak and she tried to reach for the phone. I'll never forget her story. She was on Oprah and maybe 15 years ago. She said she knew she had to call someone and she knew what the phone was for, but she couldn't figure out numbers. And she knew she had a business card of her colleague and she's trying to type in the phone number, but since her left brain went offline, only her right brain was working. And she knew this. She was watching herself have a stroke. It's insane. Read this book if you haven't read it lately. She said that she compared the squiggly numbers on the card to the squiggly numbers on the buttons on the phone, and that's how she reached out and called somebody to come get her. Then, during her recovery, during her healing process, her right brain still online, which is handling most of the work. Left brain, logical brain, puts together words, puts together sounds, makes sure that... She said she was more of a feeling person than a thinking person for her entire recovery period, to the degree that when someone was coming into her room, she could feel their energy. She could feel whether they were like, oh, poor her, she's never going to get better. And she was like, get out. However that looked, because I don't think she could speak yet. Get out. You are responsible, she said to Oprah. You're responsible for the energy you bring into a room, and we all feel it. And because our left brain is online, we might talk ourselves out of that feeling. We might think, oh, be nice, be kind. They're probably going through a lot. What if we turned off all that logic and all that making excuses for other people? And what if we just felt their energy? How many, I'm just curious, how many circumstances would you tolerate if you just went on feeling alone and just knew that, this is, I'm not vibing right? So here's what Jill Bolte Taylor says from her book, Whole Brain Living. Use the whole brain. She said, we can have all the words, all the information, all the intellect. You could be crammed full of facts, yet it is our feeling heart that is the true source of the power of the one source that animates all of us. We can be worn down by what Howard Thurman calls the dust and the grit of the journey. That thing Tamara was talking about, the day by day, oh, I got this to-do list. Yeah, we can be worn down by that. We can get lost in despair if we let it happen. We can get disillusioned and even go into disbelief where you're now just like, none of this stuff is true. What's the point? But she said if we can catch the divine spark, if we can let the holy, what is holy, invade the fog of the idea that we're separate, let the holiness invade that, the light within will rekindle. It'll blaze up and a new vigor of inspiration will happen. In other words, we are feeling creatures who happen to be able to think, not the other way around. So that is so interesting. Feeling creatures who happen to be able to think. And I love this because thinking can be taught. You could teach somebody anything, any rote process can be taught, but you cannot teach people how to feel. You can't teach them, okay, now here's what that thing that you're feeling. That's an internal experience. We internally have feelings that come up, and if we're trained by the Western world, we're told to push it down and move on anyway. But that feeling, that emotion, it has so much information in it. And some say that when you do notice yourself having an emotion, passion, follow that. And I know that it seems like, oh, Shar, follow your bliss. That's so trite. But no, we are meant to do something here. Each of us are divine. Remember, refer back to the first quote. Each of us has access to something bigger. Each of us are here to do something amazing. How do we know what it is? Listen. And you're not going to hear it. You're going to feel it. Follow that. Now, I usually call it golden breadcrumbs, where something just happens. You're interested in something. You're really feeling like, oh, I really want something. And then some synchronicity, some little thing will fall in your path, and that should catch your attention. And you'd be like, oh, excuse me, what is that? And if you're interested in it, passionate about it, or just curious, you're not just curious about everything. Trust me. There are some things that can go right by you. You didn't even notice it. But what made you curious? Pull that thread. Follow that goal. What's inside that thing? Search it. Follow it. Go into that, because that holds a secret for the next thing. And the next thing. It's already given to us, but sometimes we can't see it. We can't see it because we're doubting, because we're invested in some false narrative of what reality is. But if we allow ourselves to open our minds, open our eyes, and then open our hearts, and then follow that, whew, what could happen? What could come of that? There are so many stories of the times when the doors just flung open, and there's no way you could have consciously planned that. It just worked out. That's what I'm talking about. Something about our desire for it is actually, so I want to say something. The fact that we desire it means it already exists, and it is desiring us back. Think of it like a wormhole. Not to get too weirdly science fiction, but I wouldn't be me if I didn't get a little science fiction. If our desires come up in our bodies, in our minds, in our feelings, that means it's real. What we desire desires us. And the fact that when we started desiring it, that created the thing, and now what we perceive as, oh, but the distance, it's gonna take a long time. It may take a long time. It may not take a long time. The fact that we really desire that means there's something there on the other end. And that travel through that wormhole, I don't know if it's going to take a week, a year, a month. It could be immediate. We have no idea, because it's just beyond our logical understanding. And the more that we try to put our brain around it, that's not where the truth lives. I mean, facts live in the brain, sure. But the truth, it's a little deeper. It's a little more whole-bodied. It's a little more fully engaged with us. So anytime I would say, anytime you're working with something and you're working too hard, you're trying to muscle your way through, force the door open because, doggone it, I'm going to get what I want, and I'm going to get it from this thing. Maybe just relax, let go. Take your fist and whew, let it go. And that's hard. I know it's hard to let go. We're so used to clinging. But sometimes in letting go, we now release the requirement. Okay, universe, I want that car and I want it on Tuesday from that dealer at this amount, and that's a little too much. Why don't you just let that go? Focus on that passion, that joy, that excitement, and allow the universe to bring it to you in ways that you couldn't even have outlined. Stop outlining stuff and get into that feeling of what is it like? What would it feel like? What are you looking for? What does that feel like? Get into it. Because that fire is the creative urge. And it creates, not just in your life, because we're all connected. It's a creative urge that connects everybody. And watch how that thing comes to you. You didn't even know. Whoa, I didn't even know that was a path. Look at that. And just be grateful, surprised, grateful, and celebrative. That's our life. That's our goal. The reason for us to be here. Recognize what turns on our fire. Follow our passions. And just feel our way through. Feel our way through and follow the good stuff. And if it feels terrible, I shouldn't have to finish that sentence. If it feels terrible, what? Stop doing it. Doctor, it hurts when I bang my head against the wall. Okay, so stop banging your head against the wall. I'm just $50, please, because I'm a doctor. Like what? Stop doing it. And sure, that you make it sound so easy. It's not hard. I mean, it's simple. I know it's not easy because we have to let go of our predefined ideas, our predefined concepts of how it should be. And we got to let go of trying to impress people that we don't even like. Swallow that one. We're trying to impress people, and we don't even like these people. We're trying to take a nice selfie so we can put it on Instagram so all those stalker haters can be jealous. What are you doing? There's nothing to do with them. Like, seriously. Our truth is way narrower than, but the world needs to see me in a certain way. Take all that energy, pull it back in. Call back all of the little energy bots that you sent out. Put them right back inside, and let's have a talk with them. And we ask ourselves, so we have this love, this flame, this fire. That's what we're trying to generate in ourselves. It all starts here. And then don't damp it down no matter what. If somebody comes to you and says, oh, you're running a little hot. Okay. You're too much. All right. Tamara and I both know we're the kind of person. I mean, it's true. We probably shouldn't just thrust our hands into the air and answer every question just because we know the answer. Maybe hang back and let other people have time. But what we're not going to do is stop being full of energy, full of fire, happy, joyful. It's not an act that we're this way. And I know you have this in you too. There's something about you. Someone told you, oh, don't be so much. Sounds like a you problem. Again, we're going to be appropriate. All of us here, whatever way in which you're too much, sure. Don't, read the room a bit. Do the things you're supposed to do. But don't trim yourself down so much that you are no longer who you are. Don't let the fear of disapproval be so much in your face that you stop letting love in, letting light in, following your joy and your happiness. Because even Helen Keller, she got it faster than a lot of us. Remember, she was born deaf, she was blind, mute, I believe, as well. Listen, she said, life is either a daring adventure or it's nothing. So we don't get to, another just fun fact, there's no behavior that you could modify that will change them. They let you think that. But even if you do try to change yourself to be less of one thing and more of another thing and posture perfect so that they'll be happy, they will raise the bar and find another reason that you're still not enough. Stop looking over there. Nothing to do with them. We have to remind ourselves, do all the re's, return to who we really are and get into that fire and that passion, whatever it might look like. And as long as it's life-giving to all, like hopefully you're not passionate about anything crazy, but right, for the highest and best of all involved is our intention, and then watch how we change the world in ways we couldn't have known. And that change in the world, it's a byproduct. It is not the point. It's a byproduct of us living at our highest, because many people have left the planet after having changed it for good, but during their lifetime they had no idea. And people like Copernicus jailed for what? The world is wait, it's round, not flat, and the sun. What are we doing? Jail. You may never get appreciated for all of your groundbreaking discoveries or all of whatever it is you've changed, but your presence and the changes you made will be felt. It will have a difference. Just don't do it for the rewards. Do it for the high vision that has been given. So we're flowing with life at this point. We've realized that, oh, it's about feeling. So we let go of a lot of the overanalyzing. And then once we tap that feeling, we don't let someone else talk us out of it. In fact, don't even tell some people, if they're not going to support you, what you working on? Not much. What are you working on? I'm more interested in you. Because if you know that when you cast your pearls in front of people who are not going to appreciate them, then you just, that serves no one, and your momentum might go away too. If you start telling too many people who are not going to support you, maybe keep it close. Get your community around you that supports you, and you don't have to convince everybody. And so with this, you're flowing, you're letting go of any perceived notions, you're releasing any clinging that we might have to something, and now our heart is open and we are flowing with life. Life is a river and you want to flow with it. Don't cling to the rock because you don't know where the river goes. Flow with it. It is working with, in unity with, something that you can't even see, something higher that we have no vision of. But if we just follow that fire in ourselves, then we are harmonious with what is meant for us. We have willingness, we have joy, and everything works together for the highest good. So, the John Lennon song, I'll end with this because it is time. There's a John Lennon song called Dear Prudence. Do you remember? It's he's got an invitation. Dear Prudence, won't you come out to play? Greet the brand new day. The sun is up. The sky is blue. It's beautiful, and so are you. The wind is low. The birds will sing that you are part of everything. Won't you come out and play? Let's go within and have our affirmative prayer. There's only one divine energy moving through each and every one of us. All that is created was created by divine love, divine life. Whether you call it God, Shiva, Krishna, whether you call it Buddha, Allah, it is one energy that is the creative energy that has created our very existence and all that interacts with us, and we are one with that. There's no separation. The Creator didn't create and then dip out. It's right here, right now, creating, co-creating with us as our life. Each and every one of us are part of this whole. We're not separate beings. There's no you and me. There's just the one. And each and every one of us has a different expression, a different angle on this one. And that's what makes life so beautiful, so interesting. In this energy of creative oneness, we get to explore all that there is. There's joy unlimited. There's abundance unlimited. There's love and wholeness. There's peace. Because in this higher realm of oneness, it cannot be divided against itself. It would collapse. The only truth is the highest truth. And the rest are just illusions. And so I speak my word for anyone right here, right now, that's going through any feeling of separation. I know that this is not the truth. Any feeling of dis-ease or unwholeness, I know that that's not the truth. I raise my attention to the highest truth about you, about all of us, that we are one, we are whole, we are perfect, and we are complete. Even now, right now, in this moment. Wholeness and perfection is our life. And so I'm simply grateful for this because the universe always nods and says yes to every idea, every instinct, every impulse that I put into this law. The law always returns and says yes. And so I know this to be true, and I hold in my heart prayers for the highest and the well-being of all humanity. And since I know this is the truth and that this is so, I simply say, and so it is. I close this prayer with an amen and an ashe from the Yoruba tradition. And I release. And let's hear from Leah.
Ha.
What we seed in the dark grows. What we seed in the dark grows. What we seed in the dark grows and grows. How no one knows. What we seed in the dark grows. What we seed in the dark grows. What we seed in the dark grows and grows. How no one knows. What we seed in the dark grows. What we seed in the dark grows. What we seed in the dark grows and grows. How no one knows. What we seed in the dark grows. What we seed in the dark grows. What we seed in the dark grows and grows. How no one knows. What we seed in the dark. What we seed in the dark grows. What we seed in the darkness. How no one knows.
All righty. Wow. Thank you so much, Charlene. I can't wait till after service when we do our pearls. If you're new to CSL Leesburg, we hang around after service. We share what really resonated with us and just catch up with each other. And we call this pearls. And Charlene and I got something in my little journal that I put a star by because I went, wow, that was such an insightful statement that you made. All right, folks. Waiting for our slide to come up. Here it is. Now is the time in our service where we give our donations. Odds are you found a way to give to you. If you're a member of CSL, if you are new to us, take a look at the screen. There's so many ways that you can give. It's quick, it's easy, and I know that you can find a way that works for you. No matter how you are giving, we are very, very grateful. And we said in our opening video, as you give, so shall we receive. So we take the money that's given to us, we use it to do what we do on Sundays, but we also give some to our home organization, as well as other organizations that support our vision of helping to create a world that works for everyone. All right, and now, no matter how you're giving, let's do our blessing of the gifts. And I love these words. It's always a reminder, a recap of everything that Charlene said in her message today. The presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And so it is. And now it's time for announcements. So Dream Study is on alternating Saturdays at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And the next meeting will be next Saturday. So if you're a regular to this, I don't have to sell you on it. You know how enjoyable it is and how insightful it is. If you've never heard of this before, it's when Charlene and friends join on alternating Saturdays and they talk about their dreams. They share their dreams, they explore their dreams. Sometimes you need a little help. You're too close to the source. You need to have somebody who is a step removed from it to help you interpret your dreams. We're always getting insight, guidance from our guides, from our subconscious. And one way that they speak to us is through our dreams. So mark your calendars for next Saturday, December 14th, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to join Charlene and friends at Dream Study. And the next slide is it's new member ceremony time. So from time to time, we welcome our new members. And we have 2 new members today that we're going to welcome. They are Nancy and